I'm Kelsey Zeiser. I'm a senior editor at Light Reading, and we're here at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona yet again. How's everybody doing?
Kind of
Are you staying
tired, but
hydrated?
staying caffeined up, I think. Caffeinated is
Yeah.
the word,
I
isn't
could
it? Yeah.
literally hear well, not hear, but feel my heart in my chest
Yeah.
yesterday, and
Yeah.
it's like, all right, it's
I
time
had
to.
6 or 7, I think, by mid-morning
I have no
yesterday. So,
idea
yeah.
how much. I was at one little cafe area, and I sat up against the wall, and someone sat on me. So
That's not what you
that
need.
happened. Yeah. How about you, Teresa? How's it going?
Yeah, also tired. Yeah, also over caffeinated. Yeah, had to rush here today because the metro was closed down because there was some sort of a smoke in there. So yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah, tired. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not scary at all.
yeah.
So what are some of the big themes that you're hearing at the show? What's got you excited, Ian?
What's got me
Are you
excited? I
excited?
mean,
You ever get excited?
I do sometimes, but I'm not that excited this year just from this sort of general show wandering around experience. And we all get sucked into our meetings and interviews. It's sometimes hard to have that kind of helicopter view of what's going on, but I feel it's a little bit flat this year. I've heard several people say, actually, and quite senior people on the telco side, they feel it's almost like an interim MWC, like it feels like we're between things. You know, we had a lot of stuff about APIs and AI last year, and this year it's kind of the API stuff to me seems a little bit quieter. It's kind of happened like let's get the associations together and get it going. The AI stuff is very, very visible everywhere, but what does it mean? I think you've been talking to people, Kelsey, about how they actually make money from AI, and everybody wants to slap AI on any technology that they're doing, even if it's not really AI. It seems it's talk, but you know what's actually going on, I think, is the question. And I also feel the numbers are a little bit lower, I have to say. I mean, maybe the GSMA will come and prove me badly wrong on this, but I don't feel it's quite as busy, and that will be a bit of a change, I think, considering I think it's always gone up for the last few years, except for the kind of COVID period. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Yeah, I have been asking different companies about when they might see some real revenue from AI and new business opportunities. The answers are mixed. A lot of them, though, are saying, "Oh, it's happening now. We're making money now," and like, I don't know if I fully believe you. Others have been, I think, a little bit more honest and saying, you know, within the next 2 years, we'll really see some more uptick. I also had, on a side note, I had an interesting conversation with the CEO of Telesat, a new satellite company, this morning, Glenn Katz, and he was talking about how they're entering the LEO space, but they're doing something different than a Starlink, for example, and that they're going to be partnering with service providers and kind of filling in the gaps for their carrier Ethernet networks. They're also MEF LSO certified, and so they'll be launching their satellites within the next 2 years.
Well, okay. Yeah, satellite stuff's always interesting.
Anything in space,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get really excited. But Teresa, you had some thoughts on, you're hearing a lot about agentic AI. What's going on there?
Yeah, I feel like everyone's kind of talking about it, but I still kind of don't really understand what it means because everyone seems to be like.
We're not sure what to do with the microphone.
So everyone seems to be talking about agentic AI, but someone put it to me like, it seems like everyone maybe means different things by it, or it's not exactly consensus there maybe. Lots of chat about AI, generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Vion earlier, who have like a subsidiary, Cascode, which is like actually train their own foundation model, which is quite cool because they're doing like languages like Kazakh, and they're working on, and that's what they started with and developed, and they're also working on like some other like languages that aren't necessarily like the big priority. So, but yeah.
I stopped by the Samsung booth, and they had a demonstration of, asking your phone, hey, I want a reservation, tapas at 8 o'clock for 7 people, and having your phone organize all that for you and make a reservation. I also got the chance I stopped by the Honor booth and played with some of their phones, and some of the AI on images it actually worked pretty well. I circled a guy and it deleted, it was a little like fairy dust kind of graphics, and deleted him from the photo, but it left his shadow. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think the agentic AI, I'm confused as well at the moment. I think that's kind of it seems like AI systems talking to other AI systems to do tasks, and there's like no sort of human involvement between them. I think the other thing that stood out for me is the sort of AI RAN stuff. I mean, we are at a mobile show, so I guess there's always going to be a lot of talk about the radio access network, but you can break AI down into lots of different categories, and there's been a lot of focus on chatbots and how they can affect customer service and things that aren't really that telco specific. There's this idea that you can now open up some of the software layers in the radio access network and do whizzy things that you weren't able to do before, perhaps replace some of those algorithms that have been developed by people with ML, basically, but also use the spare capacity on the hardware platforms that you're using to kind of sell inference. So, and this is where I think, you're talking about revenue opportunities for telcos. That's the one where people are skeptical. I mean, people are always skeptical whenever it comes to sales growth in telecom, just because it hasn't obviously happened since the broadband and mobile phone booms. But that's the kind of holy grail, I think, at the moment, is this idea that you could maybe sell inferencing services at the edge of the network where the telcos have their premises, and it will somehow, I guess, resurrect that edge computing idea that was floating around a few years ago. But yeah, whether it will, I don't know. It's hard to envisage what the use cases would be at the moment. That's the problem, I think.
I did talk to Verizon a little bit about their AI Connect platform, where they're leveraging their existing infrastructure to try and support the AI boom. So, their fiber and what's already available in their network. So that'll be interesting, I think, to watch as well. So yeah, a lot of AI
A
conversations
lot of
here.
AI.
A lot of AI. Was there any takeaways that you wanted to share from some of there's also lots of cocktail hours that are pretty interesting. There was the Rakuten one Sunday night, and I know you've attended a bunch. They were talking about their Open RAN story. Any thoughts from that conversation?
So I missed the Rakuten one, unfortunately, but
Oh,
have,
that's right.
yeah,
Scott was
I
there. For some
unfortunately, I
reason,
mean, oh, Mike
you and
Dano,
Scott
why
at
don't
the
you join
same, I
us?
think.
Yeah, why
Oh,
don't I join you? Hi guys. Sorry.
So,
I have a great question for you. So I mixed up Scott and Ian, and Scott was at the Rakuten event Sunday, but Ian was not. So
Right.
what
You
were
got
some of
stuck
your
at the Nokia thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was stuck at the Nokia thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was doing executive speed dating.
Oh,
Yeah.
that huh. I'll have to talk about that more later. Mike,
Yes.
what were some of
Sorry.
your takeaways from the
From
Rakuten?
Rakuten, I thought it was a great event. I mean, I remember when they first announced 6 years ago now, 7 years ago, that they were going to enter the industry, and I had lots of conversations in 2018 that they were not going to be successful, and like this was a
And that's
joke.
with
It
Open
was
RAN.
basically like a joke. Like people are like, "That's not happening," and here we are, 7 years later. Not only did they launch, they launched, and now apparently they're mostly profitable, and they're like having a big like celebration about it. And now they're going to sell TV services to telecom operators too, not just the Open RAN stuff. So like it's I don't know. I was impressed. I was impressed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you been impressed by anything else at Mobile World Congress this week?
No, there was a lot of
No.
not really. I mean, apparently,
Well, we're done here.
I know. Apparently, Xiaomi has the fastest car in the world at their booth. I don't know if you already talked about that. I haven't seen it yet.
fast is it?
It's really fast. No, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't.
That's
I
really
don't.
specific,
That's
Mike.
literally all I know is that
Okay.
it's really fast.
Okay.
How fast do you go from hall 1 to hall 7?
Yeah, not as fast as I should have been, apparently, to get over here.
Yeah, slow.
Yeah, I know. But the one thing I think is interesting is everybody talks about NVIDIA. It's almost like, I think my hot take is it's like a dirty word, because there's so much interest in it, but everybody's like really dancing around the topic because they don't know if they're going to do it or not, and so they don't want to burn any bridges about NVIDIA. I don't know if you have like a take on that. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to people about it in the context of AI RAM, which we talked a little bit about before you turned up. But it's interesting, even when people don't believe it, they're not quite willing to sort of stick their neck out and be really, really critical. You do hear some people saying, "Oh, this is never going to work," but the guys that you might expect naturally to sort of have an aversion to it don't want to completely rule themselves out of it, because
Right.
they're just kind of terrified of NVIDIA's power, I think, to some extent. So, yeah, they're everywhere, and they're kind of. They're the company, I suppose, of the moment, really, in MWC this year. Yeah.
So I was talking about my conversation with Telesat CEO. I have my mic here. It's hidden. You can't see it. Yeah.
Cool.
So that was a really interesting conversation. You spoke with AST Space Mobile. What did they say?
Oh, yeah, dude. My favorite thing, launching satellites. AST Space Mobile is such an interesting company, and they have a lot to do over the next 2 years. They have to launch up to 50 satellites, giant satellites that sort of unfold into these spectacular arrays that are going to be in low Earth
I've
orbit.
seen satellite. I went on a satellite tour with SES a few years ago at their at the Boeing facility because that's their manufacturing partner, and it was so cool to see the solar rays just kind of hanging there. And
Super cool.
yeah,
These
this is
big giant
exactly what it
satellites.
looks like when they deploy.
A little more
satellites.
technical than raising your arms out, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, they have some really ambitious plans, very expensive plans, and their pitch is that they're going to do broadband from space. They're not going to do text messaging. It's going to be straight up broadband. But the devil is in the details because they're going to do broadband, to this many people in this that's covered by the satellite, and they're all going to share that broadband. So if they're all connecting at the same time, are they all going to get broadband? Probably not. It just depends on how the operators decide to sell it and to whom, and then what those people do with it. Satellites, the new frontier.
That's exciting. Are
Yeah,
they
it is.
mostly operating in the LEO space?
It's all going to be low Earth orbit, and then they've got this crazy mix of spectrum, some AT&T spectrum, some Verizon spectrum. There's a little bit of shared spectrum, some spectrum from bankrupt Legato.
Wow.
That's MSS. It's intended for satellites, and so it's a whole thing.
We know you love Spectrum.
I do love spectrum. I do
Yes.
love spectrum.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks, guys. This has been really interesting. Go get some tapas, drink lots of water, and we'll see you next year.